This is Express Leads. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Express Leads. My name is Paul Brady, your host, and today we are talking to Ariel Vendette. And Ariel owns a business called Triple Rescue Plan, and it's a business that sells quality pet products for dogs and cats, and also, I understand, happens to make handmade dog tug toys, which I've seen a few online. They look really great. So welcome, Ariel.
Thank you, Paul, for inviting me.
I'm happy to. Tell me a little bit about your business. Let's talk about your business so our listeners can understand what you do exactly.
Yeah, so I started my business this year in May, and I was actually in direct sales with like MLMs and all that for over 10 years. And I decided I didn't want rules because I'm always a rule breaker. And
I like you already.
yeah. So I wanted, like, they always say, oh, you're your own boss, but really, like, you get 25-35% commission, whatever. I wanted to make 100% commission.
There you go.
Wouldn't anyone? So it's a lot of work to put in a lot of money up front, but in the long run, you make your money back and some. And with my business, I'm doing 10% proceeds go to a local animal shelter. So
Which animal shelter is that, if you don't mind me asking?
So every month I pick a new one.
Nice.
I try to in Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts, so everyone will know that. So I have 4 dogs. They're all rescues, and 3 of them are from rescue. Oh my God, I forgot. Roughtail Rescue out of Bellingham.
Okay.
And one of them is from Atticus something. I just adopted him a month ago, so I just know it's Atticus Rescue, I believe. And they pull up rescues from Texas. All my other dogs are either from Texas or Arkansas.
Okay, so we know you work with dogs. What's your product?
So I have dogs and cat products, and I make sure that every product I have is made in the USA. I will not have anything from China or anything that's fake or whatever.
Right.
Something like that. So I have recently, we'll start with the most recent and go backwards from there. So,
Sure.
I recently came up with making, so you know how with those dog string toys, how they're awful for their gut?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I came up with this design myself. I should patent it, but I'm not going to go through that process. It's a fleece tug toy, and you can have it with a tennis ball or without a tennis ball. And they're really, really durable. I have a German Shepherd mix. He's 110 pounds. He can't destroy one. With 2 dogs pulling on either end, they will not destroy it because it's dual layered. And they are affordable and they are amazing.
So tell me about your dogs a little bit. Tell me just the age and breed.
So I will start from the first one I got is Smoke. He's a Kettle Collie mix. He's 6 years old. I adopted him when he was 10 months old. He is my little guy. He's 30 pounds. He's adorable. And then
Nice.
I have Taser, who is going to be 9, I believe 9 next month. He is a mutt of 17 different breeds. He's actually my service dog. Because I suffer from PTSD from work and childhood trauma. And so he is a mutt of 17 different breeds, which he looks like, if you look at him from a glance, he looks kind of like a smaller Bernese.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And a talented dog as well, because we all know how special service dogs are.
Oh yes, he knows so much. And like I train on my off days, like today, I train my dogs, and so the next, like, because I'm also a dog trainer as well as a vet tech, as well as a paramedic. Like my plate is full.
I guess it is.
So my my next dog is Halligan, and she's a blue heeler, which is part of the heeler family, or kettle dogs, if you will.
Okay.
And she's 3 years old. She's um usually, it depends on who's home first. She's usually mom's baby or dad's baby, depending on who's home first.
Okay.
She's hilarious. She's a good girl. And then we have my recent adoption, who's Riggs. He's a German Shepherd mix, but I did a wisdom panel DNA test, and I'm waiting to hear back from them, hopefully by the end of the week, of what he's mixed with, because he's 110 pounds of pure love, energy, and oh my god, drive like no other.
I love it.
We're training to be in. We're one step away from to compete in agility competitions.
Nice. I used to own a Shepherd mix, and he was a big dog too. He was like close to 90 pounds. And I don't know what the mix was. You could see very clearly he looked mostly like a Shepherd. He had all the Shepherd coloring and everything, but not quite the Shepherd hair, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, and not quite the Shepherd ears either, you know, but a lovely dog. Yeah, and we own a Beagle now. So we have a little 22 pound beagle. It's 10 years old. We adopted her from actually right out of a home before she even went to a shelter. We lucked
Oh,
out.
good for you guys.
Yeah, we lucked out. She was probably heading for a shelter, and we ended up finding out about her, and we were able to adopt her. So the name. So you get 4 dogs. You said your name was Triple Rescue Plan. How did you come up with that name for your business?
So I have a friend that actually, so I was in, like I said, I was in direct sales for 10 years, and one of my downlines, if you know anything about MLMs, it's like a tree.
Yeah,
So
I do. I work with MLMs.
yeah, so one of my downlines in MLM, I was with Pottery before this for 5 years,
Yep.
and I was really high ranked, making really good money. But at the end of the day, I was like, is it really worth all this hustle for what I make? And
Yeah.
me and Kayla, my friend Kayla, she owns her own company now, and she's doing very, very well. She has her LLC. That's the next step I'm going to do.
Hmm.
Um, once I get the funds and stuff. But she does baby products from 0 to toddler years, and she
Okay.
doesn't believe in plastic, so all of her products are silicone or wood.
Interesting. Okay. And you,
And so she got me started with the Shopify thing, telling me how to do this, and if I have any questions I go to her. So that's how I really started. So I started in May. um
hey, just to remind, not to interrupt, but just to remind you, please, you have an email from me, right? So please email me your Shopify link. I'll add it to the description in the show when I post it.
yeah, of course.
But just for people listening, do you know what off the top of your head?
Oh yeah, it's triplerescueplan.com.
So you have a domain for
I
your
do.
Shopify store.
Yep.
Good. Well, that's easy. TripleRescuePlan.com. I can even I can remember that one, Ariel.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So
So
go ahead.
so the name came because I didn't have rigs yet, and I was talking to Kayla one day, and I'm like, I really need a name for my business, but I don't know what to name it. And she actually created a name for me. And she actually made my logo for me because she's really good, like, with graphic design and stuff. So
Sure.
I give her 120% props for helping me out with that. So that's
Wow.
honestly how. So the triple came out with 3 dogs, rescue because I rescued them, and the plan is to help all the rescue dogs in the world with my 10% that I give back to rescues every month. I do it once a month. At the end of the month, I will donate 10% to whichever shelter or rescue that is chosen that month.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at your store, and so it's interesting. You let me ask you a question, Ariel, if you don't mind. So your products, a lot of people do Shopify, for instance. A lot of people will, like I'm working with a nonprofit that does soccer, right, and another nonprofit that's an economic nonprofit, right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like physical products like you do, but what they do is they use the Shopify store to take to drop ship off of other things. So for instance, they had Shopify, and I think they use something called Printify. I set it up for them. And so Printify allows you to for no expense at all added to your Shopify account, allows you to add things like mugs and plates and scarves and shirts and sweatshirts and t-shirts and baby bibs and all this stuff with your logo on it. And people buy it. You don't pay anything because the total is there's a retail and a wholesale price. So you basically sell something and you make the retail difference between retail and wholesale, and they get paid automatically. So I looked and I'm curious. I don't see any of that kind of stuff on here as well. Is that something you're thinking of also adding, or
So I'm completely technologically special.
is that a euphemism?
I go the easy route because technologically special means let's see. I didn't know how to set up like even the shipping for my products. I could be shipping like for people to pay for shipping a lot more than what I'm charging, like a lot more.
Right, right,
And I can't figure it out, so I'm giving them the gesture of like for example today, so if anyone orders 3 products, it's free shipping. I don't know how to reverse that stuff.
right.
So Shopify is new to me. Um,
Yeah, just curious
it's
because
crazy.
because I love the products you have. So basically, everything that you're doing right now, and Shopify can be used for any number of things. What you're doing is probably fairly common as well, you know. So you're basically getting orders and then you're shipping them yourself.
Yeah, you should see my front porch right now. It's I can't walk outside right now.
And this is a picture of you on the front here that I'm looking at with the 2 dogs.
All the pictures of me of my dogs except Riggs is not on there yet. I have to update it.
Now, who's the? I know our listeners can't see this, but there's a picture. If you go to triplerescueplan.com, everyone listening, there's a picture of Ariel getting a big smooch from a dog.
Oh, that's Taser. He's my service dog.
Oh, what a beautiful dog! Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's about 70 pounds, and he looks like a Bernese mixed with border collie and pointer and everything else under the sun. So he is such a sweetheart, and he helps me in so many ways. I've had him since he was 4 years old.
I've been thinking too, and looking at your homepage and looking at some of your products, like you have nail clippers, soft grip nail clippers, and stuff on here, right? One of the things that occurs to me that you know that I I'm going to ask you, but I'm sure must be true, is that you have a background as a you have a varied background, right? Because I know
I
you
do,
said
yeah.
that dog trainer, vet tech, and plus you're paramedic in the business you're doing here, right? But I would think with a background as both a dog trainer and a vet tech that there some way that you use that promotionally when you advertise your business out in social media. You talk about, for instance, hey, I recommend these soft grip nail clippers that I saw in my store because as a vet tech, I've used dozens of these brands, and these are really the best brand I've used, and da 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 da. Is that the kind of stuff you do?
I don't try to because I'm not that kind of person to be like, hey, I'm this. I just try and brand myself. And when I go to vendor events, which I do pretty often in the Worcester County area, and beyond, um, I just I let people know like I've used these on my dog, and
Right.
I find that these are the easiest to use because a lot of people are afraid to cut people's nails,
Well, yeah, that's the reason I
their
brought it up.
dog's nails.
I've done that, and it can be a nightmare if you
It
don't do it
can
right. Your
be, yeah.
dog bleeds all over the place, and it's like very painful. And so so you definitely use your expertise and you pick these things out, but you're just not really branding it that way when you talk. Correct?
Exactly, yeah.
It would probably help you if you did a little bit because you have that expertise.
Yeah, I know what it's like to not have a background in it, and because during COVID, that's when my business started, and
Oh boy, that's a great time to start, huh?
yeah, and everyone was adopting dogs. And granted, I little sidetrack moment here. I called 15 vets to get rigs in for to get heartworm medicine. I called, literally no joke, 15 veterinarian
Wow.
people in like the where I live, and no
You know,
one was accepting new clients because everyone's adopting, which is amazing.
it's
Amazing.
amazing, but it's also interesting because we had, one of the things we noticed was our vet was more locked down than our pediatrician.
No kidding. I
We couldn't even
know.
go near the front door. We had to wait outside. They had to come out.
Yep.
You have to wear gloves. You have to do all this stuff. You have to, and of course we were already wearing masks and everything, anyways. But they would come out, take your dog. They'd be fully masked up with gloves and everything. They take the dog in, and I'm not sure that even now they allow people in yet.
I forgot to ask that question.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean it's
because
crazy, right?
I have an appointment on Thursday finally
Yeah, yeah.
with Riggs because he's like a week due for his heartworm medicine. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
look, don't get me
okay.
wrong. I applaud them for being careful. I think it's the right thing to do. But it's just so funny that it was easier to get into my pediatrician than it was to get into my vet.
Yeah, see, I don't have kids. I just have my fur babies, which are my kids.
There you
But
go.
it
There you go.
is so hard to get into a veterinarian right now.
But on the other side of the coin, which is something that caught my attention when you were talking, Ariel, is that a lot of businesses that started right around or just before the pandemic suffered during the pandemic. It sounds like it was a good time for you to start because of the explosion in adoptions. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Lucky for you because you probably. I mean, was there a moment when you kind of panicked a little bit when things were shutting down, saying, "Oh no, my business," you know?
Well, I have been on the. Well, I'm just gonna pat myself on the back because of all the hard work I've put into it. But I've been on the upswing since COVID.
That's awesome. That's really good.
Right now is a time, the dreaded J months, as we put it. That it's kind of starting to slow down.
Right.
But if you see the picture that I sent you before we went live, it's starting to pick
It's starting to pick up. But yeah, I saw that
pick
picture.
up again, and I'm like over my head because I introduced these dog tug toys, and everybody and their mom wants one.
Yeah, no, I saw the picture and I said, well, it would appear that Ariel is thriving. So that's always a good thing to see. Hey, let me switch gears for a second and ask you a couple of marketing type questions because
Sure
I'm
thing.
part of what I do for my audience, Ariel, is I try and show them how I work with businesses and try and help them, you know, improve their business development, or more commonly known as lead generation for their businesses, as
Yes.
well as their online presence, content marketing, social media, all that stuff. So I'm going to just walk through and ask you a few questions about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So, what do you think in your mind? Um, you know, who is a person that could be a potential benefit to you as a partner? I don't necessarily mean someone that's a literal partner. I just mean when you're looking at other people that do business, like for instance, vets might be a good person for you, right?
Yeah.
You could leave cards with them. That's my wife actually. I told you earlier. I thought it would be fun to do this because I have some experience in this business niche, and I have it from the dog walking perspective. My wife is a dog walker and pet sitter. So she watches cats, dogs. We have chickens, I think, at some point in August. All sorts of stuff, right? So she does that stuff. And I'm just wondering, you know, from and I know what partners make sense for her. Like she'll use, rescues, by the way, VA, vet tech, or I'm not vet tech, veterinarian offices. Pet groomers. These are all people that sound like some of them may be logical, potential partners for you as well. Do you have a list of people you normally try and work with or leave your cards with or form a relationship with?
I do, yes.
So
And
what kinds do you do?
so my biggest, so this is even going back into direct sales as well, because I was with a dog and cat company too. So
Okay.
a lot of people followed me to this company, which is my own company. And how I did it was I used Nextdoor, which is an app. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Paul.
Yeah, we're on next door too.
Yeah, so I'm surprised I haven't popped up in your feed.
I'm not on there as much as I used to be. I did an ad on there
Well,
for
I
her business.
created a group for Worcester County.
Nice. I'll join.
And it says like pets, the pet group or something simple like that.
Okay.
So, and I ask everyone to post picture of their pets and if they have any issues, and people just, well, I have about like 40 people in the group. I started it like, I want to say maybe less than a year ago.
Okay.
Um, but I'm still learning Nextdoor too. But my biggest thing I would say is find your niche in whatever you do, whether it be makeup, whether it be selling unicorns, whether it be um chalk couture, which I did, or whatever it may be. Find your niche and find something equivalent to that
Right.
and go out in public now. Because if you're allowed to, I'm not telling you to like,
Oh no, no, no. I get you what you mean. Sure.
yeah. So like
It's hobnob network.
for me, I do a lot of networking with my hairdresser when I go get my hair done because I know she has 3 dogs and she buys product from me. I will be making dog toys at work, and everyone on the days that I work as a paramedic, they have bought at least 3 dog tugs from me, and that's what put me behind the 8 ball. Because I was making them for customers, but they were right there, so I just made them for them. But like, I'm always talking about it in any way, shape, or form. I have a Facebook business page. I have a Facebook group. I post on my Facebook regularly. Um, and even my mail lady told her daughter, because she leaves biscuits on my front porch for my dogs because they're always barking when the mail lady comes.
Right. Oh, that's nice.
So,
Our male person for like a decade always had treats for our dog.
and if you have the money, like as in like extra money, not like money like, hey, I need to go throw money in, get a business coach. There's plenty out there, and I know you're going to talk about Clubhouse, but I met someone off of any platform, and it was a mutual friend of my, what do I call her, she helped me with engagement posts. So I spent $14 a month with her, and she sent me every single day a post for, like, say, July.
Right.
And she connected me with this amazing business coach that does a 6-month long course. And I'm a beta tester for her because she's still new in the business, but she does an amazing job.
Do you mind sharing? And you can do it offline if you want. I'm just curious because I actually do. I don't know if I necessarily would use the term business coach, but a lot of times part of what I do feels like I'm a business coach because I help people with like everything. So people that have a good handle on the business side but not the tool side, I help them with that. People that have a good handle on the tool side but not the business side, I help
Mm-hmm.
them with that. People that don't really know what they're doing at all, and they don't even have a business, but they want something, I help them with that. So yeah, so it's interesting. That's interesting because I know a realtor friend of mine has she calls him a mentor, but I'm assuming a
Yeah,
business
they're
coach as
like,
well.
I don't know. I call it a business coach because I'm in business, but um, they are in, like, if you're in direct sales, she's more. That's like what she does. That's her jam.
Right, right.
Is MLMs and businesses, sole proprietor, if I'm saying that correctly,
Yeah.
businesses.
Boy,
And she's been doing it
I'd love
forever.
to not to get off the subject here, but I'd love to interview her as well. So, you know what? We'll take that offline. But
Yeah, no problem. She would love it.
so you are, so go back to Clubhouse for a sec. I'm familiar with Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse.
So I've
And
been in Clubhouse since last year in October, I believe, or December, something like that.
in what rooms? You don't have to tell me the exact
I
room
have
name,
my
but
own room. It's called or my club, sorry. My club is called All Pause In. I haven't been I take breaks. So I'll be on every day, all day, like on my days off. And I'll be in all the dog rooms. I'll be in podcast rooms. I'll be, because I learn a lot from podcasters and they buy from me for some odd reason because of my personality. I think that's what it is. It's my
nice,
personality.
nice. Hey,
Um,
going back to Facebook for 1 second. I meant to ask you this earlier. I know you have your
yeah.
own Facebook page. You post in your page. You post in a group. You post in your personal timeline. But are you also? I'm assuming you are. But are you also members of other Facebook groups?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was going to
I
say
have
I
like
would be surprised if you weren't.
thousands. So
Awesome, and they're
many.
all related to things that are related to your niche. So, for instance, you might give me an example of one.
Yeah, so since I'm getting ready to compete with agility, the biggest, and like when I say I'm part of groups, I don't just go do not. This is my biggest pet peeve across America and beyond. Do not go blasting your stuff in groups. Get to know the individuals, get to know the group. So for instance, I'm getting ready to compete in agility. So therefore I am commenting on stuff in agility groups for German Shepherds. So there's a great German Shepherd, or it's called the Canine Agility of New England, I believe it's called.
Okay.
And I'm in that group, and there's great information. People are always posting like videos. They're posting like, so I post pictures of him learning, and so I go to Agility Rush if anyone is actually interested in agility for their dog, which is like you jump over the A-frame, the teeter, the seesaw thing, over the
Mhm.
jumps, and it's really great. There's a great place in Uxbridge called Agility Rush, and my trainer, John Nyes, NYS, he's a world champion.
Wow.
So I'm learning from the best, and it's crazy how much my dog has changed in literally 1 week.
Wow. So let me dig in a little bit more on social media,
Yeah,
Ariel. So, do you have a Instagram account?
of course I do.
Okay. How about YouTube?
That's not my jam, unfortunately. Like I have one, but like I don't. That goes back to my technologically.
Oh, it's super easy. Once
I
you set
don't
up a
know.
YouTube account, you can do lives from your phone. which is great because anything you do that is like the events you're talking about, those are great as Instagram lives, but they're also great as YouTube lives. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, how about Twitter?
I'm not on. Well, I have one, but I haven't used it in so long. I don't even know the password, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I had a
Um,
really good following on Twitter when I was using it, and I used it for firefighting because I used to be a firefighter for 8 years. So I
right.
used it for like updates on surrounding towns with fires that like maybe we're going mutual aid or stuff like that. But
Yeah, I mean, you would. I mean, honestly, I know that you know, you technologically you might be intimidated by some of the aspects of these platforms, but you know, getting past the fear of that piece of it, you'd be a natural on YouTube because I
mm-hmm.
mean, just listening to the little tidbits of things you tell me, right? So you're a dog trainer, you have vet tech experience. You're a paramedic. You've been a firefighter. I mean, you could do all sorts of videos or commentaries, or let's put it this way. Even if that wasn't your jam, right? Maybe you want to do, I mean, you have Anchor. That's something else you don't really use. I mean, people would tune in to listen to you talk about, like if you had a podcast episode that said from firefighter to entrepreneur or firefighter to
Oh, I
dog
like
trainer,
that.
you know,
I'm gonna
people, I know.
use that on my next live on Facebook. Just
There
saying.
you go. See, these are things that are, you know, because of your background, they lend themselves to being viral, right? So you could go on and talk like you're very engaged in Clubhouse and all these other things.
I
But the
am,
thing
yeah.
is, being engaged is great for your business, right? No doubt. But you know, you want to be able to redirect those people to something, some sort of a call to action or something where you have the ability to reconnect with them over and over again. And eventually, you know, Facebook could go away or the group could shut down or anything could happen, right? But if you have like their email, which is my next question for you, if you haven't guessed, but if you have their email, then you can reach out to them anytime you want and you can bring them into your platform, your podcast, your YouTube, your Instagram, your other stuff, right? So do you have an email list?
Of course I do. That's
Nice.
the first thing my business partner or my business coach ever wanted me to do.
Yes.
And she even
And rightly
helped
so.
me.
Rightly so.
I even have a QR code. So by just letting you know, I'm in two stores. I'm in Auburn and I'm in Somerville.
Where are you in Auburn?
On 65 right off of 146, take a left, Southbridge Street. There we go. 65
65
Southbridge Street at
Southbridge.
LCG's.
So when you say you're in those stores, they carry your products.
They do.
So you're not in there yourself.
I get 100% profit.
Nice. No, I'm just asking because I say, well, geez, I'll drop by and say hi. But
No,
okay,
not me physically. But she does do vendor events there all the
nice,
time.
nice. Well, I'll
So
definitely look for your products in there.
yeah,
I'll
I'm
go and
on
check it
two
out.
shelves.
I'll definitely go check it out. So, but I, you know, so getting back like the podcast thing in particular, right? Let's hit on that for a second because um, I know you say you're not technically adept, so to speak, right?
Right.
I think the podcast is probably the easiest one of all. Anchor, you already have an Anchor account. Anchor's super easy to
Yeah.
set up and distribute. And you could, even if you don't have any other tools, and I can actually send you a link. I actually do one of my podcast episodes for this show talks about how to easily create your own podcast. And I have links to the tools in my description and all this stuff. But Anchor is certainly part of it. I use something called Audacity, which is a open source free tool that you can record audio in for you know for the podcast. Then you upload it to Anchor. You can also record right off of Anchor. I just prefer to use Audacity because I have more control over edits and that kind of stuff if I need to.
I think the
Um,
problem is I'm so used to Facebook Lives and I do so well with Facebook Lives because I have the interaction there
mhm,
and
mhm.
people asking stuff or commenting and it just keeps me talking and like I'll be dancing or I'll even do my so like I'm a wicked tomboy. So like I'll do Tomboy 101 turns girly for like one of my random videos, and I'll have 100 viewers because I never wear makeup, never.
Right.
And I'm like, this is what not to do on a
Well,
vacation.
I'll let you in on a little secret though, Ariel.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to do Facebook Live, you have people come in, right?
Yep.
You can use a platform called Be Live. It's be.live. And it allows you to interview, like you could interview someone one-on-one if you wanted to on be.live, right? But you can also stream it live while you're doing it, right? So you could have yourself, you could interview someone, you could do all sorts of stuff, right? Why is this important? It's important because when you use be.live, it saves that audio and that video separately. In other words, when you do it just on the Facebook platform, it disappears. It's on Facebook. When you do it on B.Live, it streams, saves it on Facebook, but it saves it locally. And so there's this little trick I tell my clients. A little bit of coaching I'll throw in here. It's a little trick I tell my clients about repurposing content. So you could literally take every single Facebook Live you ever do and repurpose it, the audio from those on B.Live, right? You can repurpose the audio for a podcast and just upload it to Anchor. Hit two platforms in one. Now, you might be saying and doing things that people need to see, but guess what? That's the dirty secret of podcasting, right? There's a lot of shows that have video content, a lot of political shows, a lot of, human interest shows, a lot of techie shows, and they do videos and they repurpose their audio because you can hear them talking about if you see this and you talk about this. So sometimes people on the podcast are kind of like, but they understand that that's the case because they're very open about it. They're saying, look, this is our show. We're quote unquote simulcast on Apple or Google or whatever you want to call it, Anchor. And but it's a good way for you to do one thing and then get, repurpose it and get more bang for your buck.
Yeah, I'm on not Shopify. Spotify, Apple, and whatever else I'm on.
Yeah, and those are all ones that are integrated with Anchors. That's what you're saying? Are those the ones you integrate with Anchor? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I only have like 2 episodes because I feel like maybe it's just me. I'm like talking to a wall.
Well, you could do what I do. Right now, I'm using Zencastr, which is the easiest tool to use in the universe. And by the way, my podcasting episode, the one I talked to you about, how to easily do your own podcast, I talk about Zencastr and I have links for it in the description. So I will definitely send you, and if I don't, remind me, okay? I will definitely send you a link to that episode. And you should go click on the link and look at the description. All the tools are there. And then listen to it if you want. I go through it in a lot of detail.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's super easy, though. Honestly, it is. Anchor is really easy to do.
I'm honestly really interested in doing YouTube because once I can get like my email list together and get them sent out to my YouTube, like I think because like they can see me. The thing is like they can see me dancing, see my smile, see my personality, and I feel like I can't show that in a podcast.
Well, and yes, and that's why it's repurposed, right? So what you just said, the Facebook Live, if you use B.Live, right? And I think there's a small charge. I'm not sure how much it costs. It's not expensive. But if you use B.Live, right, you can take that, because don't forget, it doesn't just save the audio, it saves the video. So you can then take that video and upload it to your YouTube channel. You see the beauty of this? B.Live allows you to have content on YouTube, Facebook. And by the way, you can stream live to YouTube or stream live to Facebook through B.Live also. Or you can stream live to Facebook and upload to YouTube later. Unfortunately, YouTube has restrictions on streaming because they're so darn special. I have to keep it clean.
Special.
They don't allow you to and they don't allow you to stream.
I found it on my phone. It says the easiest live streaming platform ever. Boom.
What, B.Live?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a gem tip for you because
B.Live is amazing. I'm totally gonna do. I'll message you offline about it.
Awesome.
For sure.
Awesome. You'll love it. And the thing is, it allows you to take that content once you've saved it it saves it locally on B.Live, and you can download that video and upload it to any other platform you want: Vimeo, YouTube, Instagram, anything. Although
Yeah,
Instagram, it might be too long for Instagram, but you know
it
what I mean.
says the top three that they share with you. Like it says, try it now, whatever. It's
Yep,
YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
there you go. I haven't done LinkedIn before, but
Yeah, there's ton. Like I have one, but I don't use it. So I
well, I use
tried
it
to
quite a
delete
bit, but
it.
I don't use it for this kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
not for I do, but not for I wouldn't necessarily.
and I
I mean, if you
hate.
had a business
Oh,
account on LinkedIn for your business, then yes, absolutely, you should use it and put videos out there.
I wish
But if
they
you,
could do it for Instagram, but you can't.
yeah, no, probably not. It's
That's
long form
okay.
content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so here you go, right? So with B.Live, you're checking off a bunch of stuff, Ariel. You're checking off YouTube.
Oh,
You're
I'm
checking
taking
off
a
your
ton of notes
podcast.
right now.
What's that?
I'm taking a ton of notes right now. This is great.
No, this is what I want. This is kind of like what I mean about what I do, Ariel. It's like I'm a inbound marketing um, in a professional communications professional, right? So or a communications professional rather. So I do copywriting, I do lead generation, I do funnel design and all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
But what I really like the most is, and it's so funny because I'll help people with stuff, and there are two types. I've learned that roughly speaking, there have always been two types of people: the kind that protect things like it's a top secret memo that can't be shared, and there are people that like to share their knowledge. I like to share knowledge, and
You
I don't get paid
remind
any extra
me.
for it.
Have you ever met? I forget his last name. Mike. He did the. Excuse my language. Screw the big rooms on Clubhouse.
No, no.
Oh
I
my
am on
god.
Clubhouse, but I'm not that dug into the
So
same things you are, I don't think.
so his name is Mike, and he's
Yep.
from the UK, and he reminds me of you 120%. He doesn't charge anything for his knowledge, and he's so knowledgeable about. He actually interviewed me on his podcast.
Nice.
I got three podcasts. This will be my fourth under my belt. Two were video recorded,
Nice.
and I was like, I'm at work. Oh, I have a call. I gotta go. And then he just muted it and paused it. And then I went on the call, came back, and just continued it. So the life of a paramedic.
So let's jump back to email list for 1 second, because how big is your email list, do you estimate right now?
So I started in May,
Okay.
and it's probably about anywhere from around 80, I would guess.
Okay. Okay. Good. So there's a way that you can, and it depends on how you want it. So, and the other thing is, how do you capture email addresses? Do you have
So
an opt-in page, or is it
I
Facebook lead
use
ads?
so in my store at LCG's in Auburn, I
Hmm.
have a QR code that says want 10% off, subscribe at the bottom of my page using the QR code.
Okay.
So they sign up there, and then if they ever purchase, that's an automatic. I give their email
How do you
and
get
their
their email
information.
when they purchase? Is that because they have to do it on Shopify?
Yeah, I set it up so they have to give me their information.
Okay. Okay. Um, so if you want to really jump um, the number of people you have on your mailing list, have you considered doing targeted advertising like pay-per-click ads on Google or Facebook, or even solo ads?
I've
That kind of stuff?
tried Facebook ads, and it was a waste of my money. Maybe I did it wrong, maybe this, that, or the other thing. I don't know, but I've got the views. I had over 2,000 views on my business page on Facebook, and I got no like clicks or whatever I did.
All right, so let's dig into this for a second, okay? Because
Okay.
this is important. So someone comes into an ad on Facebook, right? They click the ad. It says maybe learn more, right? Where do you send them? Do you
So
send them to your
I already know.
Shopify
I
page?
already know I did it wrong because this is when I first started.
No, it's
Um,
okay. This isn't.
to my website. It went right to my website or to
Right.
my messenger.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to send them somewhere where you can get their email
Yeah.
immediately.
That's why
So
I changed my website within the past month to you have to send me like there's a thing on Shopify where you can click like they have to send you like their email, phone number, and mailing address if you subscribe.
right. So I'm going to make a suggestion.
Yep.
I think that see part of the problem with, and I'll give you an example. So when you send someone from a Facebook ad to like a website, let's say, right? Even a website, let's say you're even sending them to a part of your website that has a contact form that they, if they want to fill out, right? Um, like you said, if they want to subscribe, if they want to fill it out, then you get their info, right? See, the problem is that when you send someone to a website from an ad, there's a lot of distractions on a website. So people come into a website and just look at your page where you send people to and just kind of keep a mental note in your head, just counting all the distractions that are on there. So for instance, if there's a menu or a navigation to go away from that page, that's a distraction. If there's a bunch of links in the footer, that's a distraction. If there's things on the left or right side of the page, that's a distraction. Um, you want to send someone to a landing page where they only have one thing they can do. Either they put in their email and click, you know, submit, or they don't. There's no other choice for them to come in. So you're eliminating a lot of the noise on that you find on a page and a website, right? And of course, that's a very simple lead generation opt-in page. And so you'd want to give them something, right? And believe it or not, the most popular thing you can give someone, because if I was kind of surprised by this myself when I first learned it back when, but it isn't like a lot of people will make the mistake of saying, "Hey, give me your email, I'll give you a free consultation," or "I'll do this or I'll do that." People don't like free consultations. People don't like, even like access to audio or video isn't always as engaging as access to an ebook. So people, for instance, and I always tell clients this is like, think about the top, you know, it depends on the business, okay? But let's say think about the top, you know, 5 or 7 questions you get asked all the time. Of course, one of them is going to be price, right? But think about the other questions that people ask you. Are your toys made in the USA? Are your toys environmentally friendly? Are there, whatever people ask? You know those questions better than I do. But you think about the most common questions people ask, and you create an ebook around it. And if you're not like someone that says, "Oh my goodness, I don't have time to do an ebook," there's these things called Upwork.com, Fiverr.com. Go out and pay someone to do it for you, and then get all the grunt work out of the way, and then go back and kind of look at it yourself and clean it up and do it when you have time. But people, by far, if it's going to benefit them or their pets, and by the way, it doesn't even have to be about your product. It can just be about pets. If it's about something that is either directly or tangentially related to your business, then making an offer later after you get their email that, for instance, if it's something about the top, like you have experience adopting dogs, and we both know that's a huge thing right now, right? So you could write an ebook, the top 9 things I learned from adopting 4 dogs, as an ebook, right? And you just do the 1 through 9, you talk about it, you get people to give you to download it, but to download it, they come to an opt-in page. So it's a Facebook ad that says, "Hey, the top 9 things I learned about adopting dogs." And or the top 3 mistakes to avoid when adopting dogs, whichever way you approach it, right? They click it, they go to your page, they have to give you an email, and then they can download the ebook. And what happens is now they're on your mailing list. Now they start getting what's called a drip campaign of emails from you. So you do like a 5 or 7 day drip campaign where you talk about, you do like a little profile on each of your dogs. And again, it's not all about sales. Sometimes it's about value and fun, right? Especially in this niche. And then eventually you're kind of leading them down the road of, my dog loves these tugs. I make these tugs. They're great. And eventually you get to a call to action. But what happens is you're going to add way more people to your mailing list than just having a QR code. Having a QR code in a store is great, but that's just, to me, that's supplemental. That's not the main way to get your email. So, doing something like this, and by the way, you could do Facebook ads, you could do Google ads, you could do solo ads. So if you know someone that has a mailing list that is similar to your business, like let's say you have a really good friend of yours, it's a groomer, write an email, send it to them, and tell them that you'll pay them so many cents per click on that. Or if they're a really good friend, maybe they'll just send it out for free, right? And so if you send that out to someone that's a groomer, let's say you're friends with, and they've got 5,000 people on their list, you just got your message out to 5,000 people. And what does that do? That message directs them to go and get this offer, this like lead magnet. And then what happens? You get a percentage of your friend's mailing list now becomes your mailing list because they sign into your list and you can send them stuff. You see what I mean?
I do. Yeah, that's amazing.
So don't mean to chat too long, but solo ads aren't bad. And I'm just trying to think if so MLMs and it's ironic, right? So MLMs and make money online and do those are very popular niches for solo ads. You can easily find providers of those anywhere else. But solo ads literally is just a fancy way of saying you're renting someone else's mailing list.
Yeah.
You know,
See, where I like to be unique, I'm a very unique individual. I'm like one in a million. So,
it's
just
so
saying.
humble. No, I'm kidding.
I like to. I don't know. I always love the tips. So you're giving me like a whole. I was writing down the whole time you were talking, so that's amazing.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that because that's the thing I want to do. Is part of the reason I do these is to give tips to the listeners because they're hearing it and they're saying, oh, this might make sense for my business. But to help the people I interview, I genuinely want to help people I talk to. So email lists are big thing, and the way you build them is huge. So you will definitely get people to opt in to get a lead magnet like that. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that you have tons of experience on adopting dogs. It's a super popular, um, you know, thing right now. People are doing it. And so you could write something like that and people say, sure, I'll give my email list to see the top 9 things I did when I adopted dogs. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
people do that. But then and then again, the logic there is that you're not then trying to sell them an auto part, right? You're trying to then tell them, oh, look, you're likely to get a dog. You might get a dog. So I'm going to add you to my list and you're going to start getting my email campaign. And then after the 7-day email campaign's done, I might send out a daily or a semi-weekly email to my list, right? And by the way, that's the other thing I didn't mention, but it's really important. Building an email list and then sending nothing to it is really bad because what happens is, let's say you have a campaign, you get 500 people sign up to your list and you're like, woohoo, right? But then you don't send them anything. What happens? Well, when you finally pull something together and send it to them, if it's been a month, they might not even remember who you are. They might not even remember signing up for your list, at which point they'll probably unsubscribe. So
Is
you always
there
want
an easy app that you know of that is great for using email lists for?
to, well, easy's kind of a subjective term. I think
True,
that
very true.
there are easier
Let
things and
me
there are harder
say
things.
user friendly.
Well, I can tell you what I recommend. So I use ClickFunnels and I use that with GetResponse. So ClickFunnels is how I design my landing pages, and GetResponse is what I do for my email lists. Um, I actually use ClickFunnels for emails as well. I'm one of those crazy people where I pay for the bigger plan, even though I have GetResponse. But I love GetResponse. It can be as simple or as complex as you want. And here's the thing about these tools that I like: you can be a complete newbie, and there are so many videos on YouTube about how to use GetResponse, how to set up GetResponse, how to set up ClickFunnels. Or if you had someone that you were working with that was a coach that understood the tools, they could set them up for you or help you, hold your hand. So those are good tools. There's a bunch of other tools as well. Obviously, they're not the only tools. They're the tools I use, but I know there's MailChimp. I also use, by the way,
Well, I used
ActiveCampaign.
to use MailChimp at one of my businesses I had. but it found it pricey for what I was getting out of it. Maybe I wasn't doing it right. Shocker.
No, you're probably right. I mean, it can be pricey. That's the other thing is I look at everything from a price perspective. So starting with get response, and doing the second tier plan, not the first tier. The first tier is the really cheap plan, which you'll be tempted to grab. But you got to do the second tier plan because the second tier plan is the one that supports workflows, which means you can do email drip campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you could do that, or if you want a really tight budget, um, you could do something like ClickFunnels with maybe Active Campaign. Active Campaign's a little cheaper. The thing is about mailing programs, they're all very sneaky because as your mailing list grows, they charge you more. So you just have to keep an eye on that. And the one thing I have in the back of my mind is that, once people get to a certain number of subscribers, if they're using ClickFunnels and let's say Get Response as an example, once they get to a certain number of subscribers, it's probably going to make more sense just to ditch Get Response and stay with ClickFunnels because ClickFunnels gives you unlimited email, but you pay for that price or for that privilege, you pay $297 a month. So for $97 a month, you don't get email with ClickFunnels, and then you can pay less for Get Response. So you know what I mean? So you just have to watch the numbers, and once it approaches past anything close to $300 a month, and at that point, you should have sales, you should have subscribers, you should have, that's the other thing I tell people is that when you build your mailing lists and you're sending stuff out, that's great, and you do want to send out value. You just don't want to spam people with sales things, right? But you also have to make money. So you want to send people to, especially if you have like Black Friday specials and things like that. And you can even make up days. If you go out and do a search on social media manager, calendar, holiday calendar, or whatever.
Yeah, it was like National Rescue Day, National Puppy Day.
Exactly. You can have specials for every day that there's a holiday and you can send it out, right? But the big ones that people always look for are Christmas, Thanksgiving, and of course Black Friday is all part of that too, right? But that's where people perceive the perception is they're going to get a deal, and the reality is that I'm not saying that people won't get a discount, but people always read into that way too much. I mean, I've seen people buy stuff on eBay back in the day that they could have bought in a store for less money, but it was on eBay. It was Black Friday. They thought it was cheaper and they bought it. So I'm not saying you should do that. What I'm saying is that there's a thing about holidays, certain holidays where people will buy. So if you make kind of a discounted offer on some of your products, or maybe if people buy a bundle, they get a slight discount. And you can easily do that stuff in Shopify. You can go in and specify discounts and all sorts of stuff, Ariel. So, but doing stuff like that allows you to hit your mailing list and do what? Generate money. You want to make money. The money is in the list. That's the phrase I tell people, clients and people I interview all the time. The money's in the list. If you don't have a really big mailing list and you're not constantly growing it, then chances are with 80 people on a mailing list, the economies of scale mean that there's much less likely to get sales from that. But if you have 500, 5,000, 10,000, and you're sending stuff out, you're going to get sales because guess what? All those people are interested because of your lead magnet, going back to what we said earlier about adopting dogs or something about dog products or something about dog training. These are all valuable skills you have. If you do lead magnets on those with little ebooks and people sign into your list, you know that they're interested in pets and dogs. And if you do want a dog training, it's 99% likely they already have a dog. So they're already ready to go as a client and do things. And by the way, people love philanthropy. So sending stuff out, even as part of the footer of your emails when in an email campaign, or even sending a special note out to people saying that, this week we did this, and I just want to thank people because we donate to a different shelter every week, and thank you for this, and da 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 da. Right? So people do that, and they say they not only get something for their dog, they feel good about it. That's a win-win for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would concentrate on something like that, and like I said, if you have people you can partner with that have extensive mailing lists that don't mind you writing an email sending it to them, and then asking them to just cut and paste it into an email from them to their list, introducing you as a colleague or a friend that runs this business. And then people can click on that without what? That link in your email. It's called a call to action. And initially, you're just trying to get them to sign in to be added to your mailing list. And that's how that whole process starts. And, I have one going right now with an economic nonprofit. And in that nonprofit, we're sending people, it's a little bit of a different model because we're looking for people that are highly, highly engaged, which will be lower conversion, right? But we have like 1,000 people on that list right now. And what I do is I have Google Ads, and the Google Ads point to a different blog post depending on what part of the nonprofit they're interested in. So if they're interested in, subject matter that talks about a livable wage, I send them to a blog post that has an embedded form in it. So it's very passive. It's not the model I told you about, which is probably what you want to use, right?
Right.
People come in and they can read the article and not give me their email. But what does it also tell me when they give me their email? They read the article and they're very highly engaged. But there's much lower conversions for that model. For your model, it's higher conversion rates for people to join your list, and perhaps down the road some sales as well. So it just all depends on how you set that stuff up. And something like ClickFunnels, for instance, they do. And I can when I post my show, I'll have a link to ClickFunnels on there, and I always tell people I never recommend tools that I don't believe in or I don't use. And I use a lot of tools. I'm a tools guy. But some of them, not all of them, some of them I have affiliate relationships with. So just full disclosure, that is true of ClickFunnels and GetResponse. It's not true of ActiveCampaign or Anchor or any of the other tools I use. But you are an entrepreneur, so you understand where I'm going with all that. But yeah, so I guess before we wrap up, I guess I just wanted to ask you, how do people contact you when they want to talk to you? I know they have the website, but what if someone wants to reach out and say, geez, I run a business here. I'd like to have your products in my store. Is there a way for people to reach out to you? Is there a good thing I can tell our listeners?
I have Shopify. They can chat with me that way.
Okay.
That's the first step. You can always add me on Facebook, but my name is kind of wonky to find me.
Okay. Is there so when people go to let me see now. So I'm looking at it right now. So when people go to Triple Rescue Plan, they can subscribe to your newsletter there.
Yep.
They can get to your Facebook by clicking on the link to Facebook on triplerescueplan.com or your link to Instagram.
Yep.
Or they can just click this little green
The
bottom right
green button.
corner
Yep.
chat with us.
Yeah, and it'll go right to me.
That is awesome. So I think that you're really pretty plugged in, Ariel. That I talk to some people aren't plugged into anything, and that's okay.
This
Not
is me
everyone.
just kind of winging it, to be honest with you. I'm
No, but
learning.
you're
I'm
teaching
learning as
yourself.
I'm going.
But yeah, but you know what? That's what the best people do. You're not afraid to try. You're trying it, and that's what makes a difference, right? So,
Exactly.
I would say my number one recommendation for you is to do a little repurposing on your social media. So, in other words, just to recap real quickly, you already create stuff on Facebook Live. So use B.Live to do your Facebook Live so that you save that video, repurpose that content, upload the video to YouTube on your YouTube channel, and then take the audio from that and upload that to your podcast on Anchor. And
Yeah.
now you're hitting major platforms everywhere. And always give people a way to get back to you in both the description of your YouTube, the description of your podcast, and the description of your Facebook Live. So when you're done with your Facebook Live, you have to go back in and edit your description. Make sure people there's a few call to actions in there, and definitely a way for them to subscribe to your list. How's that sound?
I love it. I'm gonna definitely talk to you offline about YouTube and how to start one, because I have an old one that was when I was a professional horseback rider. So
Right. Yeah,
and
absolutely. Please do reach out. Let's. So I just wanted to wrap up and just tell you that I had a blast talking with you. It's a lot of fun to chat about. Like most people I talk to don't even know what Clubhouse is, so that was fun because I love that.
I love it.
And you're doing a good job. You got a lot of stuff you're in here, and this really and you've got all these other things kind of set up and just not used. So it's just really a minor amount of work to get this stuff up and running, and a new little tool that you can play with, Live. But listen, Ariel, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this interview. And, this should be posted soon. And I'll send you the link when it's posted. And I hope that, our listeners reach out to you on triplerescueplan.com if you're a dog owner or someone that's interested in dogs, thinking maybe about getting a dog. Check out Ariel's website. She's got some very, very cool products here. I know I'll be checking it out because I have a dog. And so thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to hear from everybody.
Yes. Don't forget. I almost forgot to mention, please share the link to this podcast with your list and with all your friends in social media so they come listen to your interview.
Excellent.
Awesome. All right. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much.
This has been Express Leads, hosted by Paul Brady of Brady Consulting and Inbound Marketing. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave us a voice message by visiting anchor.fm/expressleads. Thank you.